Okay, we are on now. This is indeed Papa Kennewick. I am, my name is Alan Converse, as in the shoes, and I am merely keeping the seat warm for the great Jess Jarva, who is, of course, the host of this program, and is regrettably delayed. Well, she's not been detained, but she is delayed, evidently. I know Miss Jarva well. I hope to do her honor today while I warm the seat. Can say that Miss Jarva, of course, is musically accomplished.
Converse.
Okay.
Converse.
All right. Blessings, my sons. Right. Hey, Papa. Right. Bless you. All right. Well, I would like to introduce someone who is also musically talented right now, Andrew Bassaro, an accomplished guitarist whom I've known for a number of years. Why don't you take the seat, Andrew, while I set yourself down there while I shuffle this over. Have to move off camera. So I think I'll just let Andrew play for a bit. Seriously, why don't you set yourself down? Andrew, why don't you tell me a little bit about the kind of music you do? And I believe you've worked in a kind of Brazilian guitar style.
Well, the finest music in the world is... The finest music in the world is, as you know, is syncretic, where combines well. It's tough to once a director, always a director. The Brazilian music contains this incredible tradition of syncretic.
You're in the shot.
Will you
a fusion?
Beat it, okay?
Of European, African, South American traditions fused into
Sure.
So, you
I'm trying to
know.
be serious, okay?
Olha que coisa mais linda, mais cheia de graça. Ela menina que vem que passa, e você balança o caminho do mar. Moça do corpo dourado do sul de Ipanema, o seu balançado e mais que um poema. Que coisa mais linda que eu já vi passar. Porque estou tão sozinho. Now see, he goes up a half step to that bridge. Porque estou tão sozinho. All right, well anyway, Tom Jobim, ladies and gentlemen. Antonio Carlos Jobim.
Okay.
The great Brazilian artist.
All right.
Get Andrew in the shot more.
Yeah.
Let him slide over.
Yeah, why don't you slide in more?
Okay,
Why
in the
don't you move
shot.
in more?
Okay, in the shot.
Okay.
And so the Brazilian music is a real, touchstone in my musical life, where the Portuguese language has such a,
There is a great,
fluidity.
there's a marvelous film about a film that I saw years ago on the box. And the picture, I think, it was a documentary. And it was called It's All True. And it was about Orson Welles and his time in Brazil, where he went down there in the 40s to make essentially a propaganda film during World War II, because Brazil, people don't know this, was an ally of the United States in the war and actually sent troops to fight in Europe. And Welles was there to make a movie. And he loved the music, he loved the people. He loved the people so much that the government got a little hostile towards him. Because he was interested in the poor people, the black people who played the music.
Right.
And he fell in love with the musicians, and many years later the interviewers went back to talk to some of the musicians who'd known him, a wonderful old black guy. And he said, when I think about Mr. Welles, he said, I think I have what we call saudade.
Saudade.
Right, and the interviewer asked, what does saudade mean? He said, my friend, saudade has no translation. It means when you are happy and sad and happy, all at the same time. Then you have saudade.
That's right. It's a,
You know, and it's like the kind of thing you can only express with a guitar.
It's untranslatable, and you could call it blues in
Yes.
America.
That's
But
probably the closest
it's
to
different. It's undefinable.
Yeah, exactly. It's very Brazilian.
Remember the fantastic bossa nova classic Chega de Saudade,
Oh, is that what that
which
yeah.
loosely translates to No More Blues, but is that song of longing. It reminds me of that classic movie Central Station, which is a great tear-jerking movie that everyone should see.
I don't know that one.
At the conclusion, the protagonist, the transcendent Fernanda Montenegro,
Right.
the great actresses of the world, she basically says, "I have such saudade
Right.
for her, everything that she's missed, her dad, her life, and she comes to a place in her life where she mends old wounds, and she comes to a
Francesca.
transcendent."
I know what you're talking
Francesca, freedom.
about. There was
Freedom.
Liberty.
when I went to my high school reunion, which was
Brazil.
one of those decade ones, you know, back in October, and I saw all these people who I'd known, I did recognize and didn't recognize. I had so many mixed emotions about seeing these people in these places and hearing about girls I'd been in love with again so many years later. It's like, and I wrote something about it and put it on our class page, and it was Saudade was the title. Because it was such a mixture, you know, of sadness and joy at the same time.
Yes. Well, you can come to terms with how, sad and yet humorous it was to have had those feelings.
Exactly. I look back and I thought, my God, we were ridiculous.
Yes.
But we were also like, we were tragic at the
Yes.
same time.
Yes.
It was,
Yes. You remember that moment where you mailed that love letter and you said, "Did I actually mail that love letter?"
oh man.
And now it's not. I can't get it out of the mailbox. I can't get it out
right,
of the mailbox.
did I actually
I want to open that mailbox to get it, but I can't. And now she's gonna read it.
And now she's going to read it, and I'm going to feel like a complete ass, and I'm going to laugh at myself. But I'm also going to be tragically in love at the same time.
That's right. That's right.
You know, and that's it. I mean, the Brazilians understand that stuff.
That's true. That's true. Which is why they have more maturity in how they engage love and relationships.
Well,
Yeah.
you can't be. I mean, we have this idea that love necessarily happy ever after. You know, it's all like a music video, but it's also about making a complete clod of yourself and being miserable. And if you deny those elements in it, you're being false. You know,
That's right.
then it's just greeting card stuff.
That's right. That's right.
You know?
And you have to accept the constant flow of feeling and emotion among different people.
Yeah, you can't fix it in any one point and say, "Oh, now I've got happiness. Now I've hunted it down, killed it, skinned it, nailed the skin to my wall, and I'm
And
going to keep it
preserved it with
forever."
salt.
Yeah,
It's
it
not-
doesn't happen. It doesn't.
Right.
It isn't like that.
Right.
It's a mess.
That's right. Which is why so many of these great artists that I've adored over the years, you know very little in Brazil about their actual personal lives.
Sure, you
Here
don't
in
need
America,
to.
you
It's-
don't need to. But here you have biographies, tell-all stories of.
Except, and this is one reason why I love Joan Jett. She won't talk about that stuff.
See, that's.
See, she
uh,
just says, "Listen to my songs."
Yep.
You
Yeah.
know, who the hell cares? I mean, of course, there's a few things out there, but who cares? I mean,
Right.
it's
I
the
care.
art that matters.
Yes.
You know,
Art matters.
Yes.
art matters.
Art
Well, thank
matters.
you from the peanut
That's right.
gallery.
Around the world.
Yeah, no, I
In
mean, if
every-
you have some more stuff you'd like to play, by all means, go ahead. I mean, it's beautiful stuff.
Can I join in the festivities?
Sure, listen in.
So again, you mentioned peanuts. I'd like to talk about peanuts. Put that hat on, by the way. You look
I'm
good
gonna
in that
do
hat.
that later after Andrew finishes playing.
Okay, well, we got 7 minutes to say our piece. We actually have 27 minutes.
Yes,
All right, well, you don't block the mic, dude. This is the mic.
the mic is fine.
Okay.
Você é minha e nem é meu este lugar, porque estou tão sozinho. Muito tenho pra falar.
The PCYW.
Estou nas estradas, já não quero parar. Meu caminhos de pedra, como posso sonhar? Sonho feito de brisa, o vento vem terminar. Vou fechar o meu pranto, vou querer me matar. Milton Nascimento, one of the great Brazilian artists. Travessia by Milton Nascimento.
Hail Portugal!
Nascimento. Is he
Portugal is a
related to
wonderful, beautiful
Edson
country. I've never been there.
Nascimento?
No.
However, I'd love to
No,
visit.
no. Milton Nascimento was an adopted young Brazilian black who was kind of illegitimate and adopted by the family of the maid who was his mother.
Right.
And he grew up to become one of the most legendary singers in the world, and a true musical genius. So Milton Nascimento, thank you. And he
Well,
wrote-
and
What do you get that? What are you doing? You're protecting the microphone.
well, I mean, you're about to swallow it and get
It's
your germs.
PCYW, man. This is the live
It is
show.
the PCYW
So
show.
if you got something to say, say it.
Well, I mean, I'm letting
Well, and-
this guy and his guitar
Yes.
talk.
and eat
Yes,
the
I am
mic,
too.
eat the mic, but just be careful of what you had for dinner beforehand.
But the other thing, but
Brush your teeth
I
afterwards.
mentioned Edson Arantes do Nascimento, who everyone in Brazil knows who that is. That
Again,
is-
you're not on the mic.
That is Pelé, who
Oh, of course.
is a musician and a poet in his own way. He was a musician and a poet on the field
True.
with the football, and
True.
watching him was like listening to great jazz. You know, it's that
Yes.
same kind of that capability that Brazilians and jazzmen also have for expressing joy. And that's what Pelé was doing on the field. I mean, you know, I think I saw
And
it.
off the field, he was a cultural, trying to, unify. ABC Wide World of Sports would cover Pele.
Well, I know, but he means something.
Can you give us a good Howard Cosell?
Well, I mean, I could talk
Howard-
about his career.
Ladies
Yeah.
and gentlemen, this is Howard Cosell. Oh, sorry.
Okay. But yeah, let's say a little bit about Edson Arantes do Nascimento. He was a child prodigy. He was kicking around a soccer ball, as a small child, and it was just a bunch of rags which he'd knotted together. And some scouts, I believe, from the great Santos club in Brazil, spotted him. I think he was in their starting team by the time he was 15 or something grotesque like that. And by the time he was 16 or 17, he was in the Brazilian national squad. He was a leading player in their team in their 1958 World Cup, 1962, 1966, 1970. Later, he came here in an effort to be an ambassador for the game and played for the New York Cosmos. But he's really most memorable for his great youth and maturity in Brazil. I mean, he's a tremendous national hero there, and deservedly so, because football in Brazil, like their guitar music, is one of the great glories of the country. It's yeah, Brazilians play soccer like that.
Jogadora, jogador. Sorry, I can't do Jorge Ben very well, but you know
Yeah.
that is a song about a Brazilian soccer player.
Of course, I
so
was going to
will-
say jogador. Yeah,
will,
right,
the-
exactly. I
the-
mean,
the-
it's
the worship
Do
of,
another one.
Yeah.
well, it's easy to say, Mr. Director, but these steel string guitars don't come, you know. Whoops. Vai passar nessa avenida do samba. See, I have this nylon string guitar at home,
Yeah.
which I traditionally played. So to have the steel string guitar,
Yeah.
it's like eating with your alternate hand. It's like switching your knife and fork, or you know, mixing up. It's very alien to me, so I can't.
Yeah, it's like, was it Willie Stargell or Reggie Jackson said hitting Steve Carlton was trying to hit Steve Carlton was a bat with a bat was like trying to eat soup with a fork. You know,
Yes.
it's like, yeah.
Yes.
And if you all remember who Steve Carlton was, the
Yes,
great
well, I-
left-handed lunatic with the Phillies.
Yes, I do remember back when athletes had a off the field cachet,
Yeah.
totally unrelated to preserving their wealth and status.
Oh,
and they're,
Steve had a bunker out in Colorado. He was a bit of a nutcase.
Yes. Yes.
But a great pitcher, you know, and you know, in his way, as artistic as Pelé was with the ball that he had at his feet. Now, I mean,
Yes.
I'm glad that we're talking about something other than ourselves. We're talking about a great country, a neighbor of ours that
Yes.
we know very little about, most of us, and most of
Yes.
what we know or think we know is cliches. I mean, for one thing, Brazil has a desert. Did you realize that? We think of it as like a jungle country or country with beaches. It has a huge desert in the northeast. There's a barren
That's right.
plateau up there.
That's right.
I think it's called the Sertões or something like that.
Yep, Sertão.
Sertão? Yeah. And they have cowboys who wear leather all over themselves because
Yes.
the place is covered with prickly plants and cactus.
Yes, in the Northeast, Nordeste.
There
They
isn't
have
any-
their own country music.
They do. They
There's
do. They
many,
have.
many comparisons between Brazil and the United States, where they had slavery, maybe
Right.
20 or 25 years longer than the
They
U.S.
did.
had
It
it.
lasted till the 1880s.
Yes.
And also Brazil, like the United States, is a country of every country. They have immigrants
Yes.
from all over the world. There are
Yes.
Japanese Brazilians, Chinese Brazilians,
Italian Brazilians.
Italians, Germans, British,
Mhm.
you know, Dutch.
Yep.
It's, you know, I mean,
Yep.
Giselle Bundchen, I think,
That's
who
right,
are
German.
Tom Brady's squeeze,
That's right.
is
A German Brazilian.
a German Brazilian. Yeah,
That's right.
That's
right.
They're everybody, and they're
Yep.
from everywhere, and they
Yep.
look like it too.
Right, right, and there are ironies because they're, on one hand, they appreciate the syncretic nature of all the different nationalities.
Yes.
But on the other hand, they're very also can be racist and
There is racial tension
misogynist
in
and
Brazil.
homophobic.
Yeah, it's a funny country, but it's very much worth knowing about. And we tend in the United States, I'm sorry to say, to be ignorant of our neighbors. Even
Yes.
bloody Canada, you know, it's right
Yes.
next door, and most of them speak our language or something like it.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm glad that we're talking about something important other than
Yes.
us.
Yes.
Not that we aren't important.
Oh well, we are very insignificant, but there is much that is important to be discussed. Specifically in our hemisphere and around the world, we have neighbors to the United States that have great cultural glories.
Oh yeah, I mean
And great history. It's almost like the U.S. has this inferiority complex.
well, I don't know about that, but I did read a particularly wonderful book about Brazil. Thank you, Squire. Which is called, the English translation is called Rebellion in the Backlands, and it's by a man named Euclides da Cunha, who has been acclaimed by no less than Robert Lowell, the great Boston
Yeah.
poet of not so
Right.
long ago, as the Brazilian Herman Melville, and it's a wonderful book. It's essentially history and reportage about a crazy episode in Brazilian history of a religious rebellion in the Sertão, which happened about 120 years ago, and it's a magnificent book. It tells you all about the Sertão, everything you ever wanted to know, and Euclides da Cunha was a Brazilian nationalist and an intellectual, and he served in the army, and yet the Brazilian army crushed these people like bugs. And Euclides da Cunha's heart, he couldn't disagree with these religious zealots more.
In the mic.
Yeah,
Right.
but his heart bled for them because he said, these are our own people. This is the heart of our people that we are destroying. You know, we're trying to be like Europeans, and here we are like crushing our own heritage. It's a beautiful book, Rebellion in the Backlands, Euclides
I
da
will.
Cunha. So you should read
I
it.
will look it
you
up.
know,
I will. I
and
certainly
your
will.
wife is Brazilian, is she not?
No, she's American.
Okay,
Um,
but if you are interested in Brazil, you should. It's a wonderful book.
Yeah.
It's a tragic book. It doesn't have a happy ending, but it's true history, and it's beautiful to read.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if we're getting a little bit
No,
egg-headed here.
I think
you
it's
know.
just it's a great topic, and Brazil has parallels with the USA in terms of their tensions and government repression.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
This is
is-
to introduce a lighter note. or different.
I brought a song for the show.
This, let me introduce him. You may not know who that is.
Introduce yourselves over here on the right,
This is Andrew Pissarro. I'm Alan Converse. We've been
on the
introduced.
far left.
Okay, you
In
are...
the center, you are.
You are Austin Rutledge.
I
with
am.
the
Austin.
camera.
I am.
Austin.
Yep.
Right, who has
And I
his
kissed
own
my mother
program
today. Yeah.
at
The great.
6:30.
I did. We did it.
That's
The
right.
Yes.
auteur
But you're the new host.
of CCTV.
Tell the
Auteur.
audience what your name is.
I already did that. If you
One
would.
more time, though.
Alan Converse. I'm the guest host for the great Jess Jarva, who I regret to say is not in attendance.
Yeah, where
Here
is
on
Jess?
the PCYW show.
That's right. Papa, can you wink?
Yes. Originated by Tyrone Jones and
That's
Jessica.
right. The great Tom
And a few other
Jones.
people.
The great, the master of Natty Daddy or whatever that stuff is in
like,
the tall can.
These are family members I haven't met yet, and I can't wait.
And I'd like to play.
I like Tyrone.
I wrote a
Tyrone's
quick.
gas.
I wrote a quick song for y'all.
Okay.
She's got eggs, and she knows how to use them. She's got eggs, and she knows how to use them. Eggs,
Okay.
good for you.
Sure.
Eat them every day.
A perfect protein if you like dead chicken fetuses.
Well, as Marlene Dietrich said once, it's not that the legs are so beautiful, darling. It's just that I know what to do with them.
Say it in the mic. That's hilarious.
Yeah, he thinks that the mic is not picking up what I'm saying.
You gotta
Right?
make it clear to the audience.
Well, this guy was just doing a little riff on ZZ Top about eggs, and I happen to say,
Let's do it again. Move your hand a little. Like, move that. Move this. That's the
move
mic.
this,
He's
okay?
He's protecting the mic. It's fine. It's fine.
Yes, I'm protecting the mic. It's a fellow Irishman. I'm protecting the mic.
She's got eggs. She knows how to use them. Ooh, she's got eggs. She knows how to use them. Eggs.
And as I said earlier, as Marlene Dietrich put it, it's not that the legs are so beautiful, honey. It's just that I know what to do with them.
Unquote.
Yeah.
You can.
And she knew what she was talking about, darling. And believe me.
She changed the world.
Well, I don't know if she did that, but she made an impression, that's for damn sure.
Hey-oh.
You know. Hemingway had the hots for John F. Kennedy supposedly invited her to 1600. Imagine that. At one point we had a president in 1600 who was inviting Marlene Dietrich over. Now we got a guy who's inviting people who can't frickin' spell.
Oh, inviting Ted Nugent and Kid Rock into the Oval Office.
Well, I'm sorry. I'll always have a soft spot for Ted Nugent.
Trump sucks.
Okay, yeah, all right. Well, we know that.
Sump trucks.
Okay, we know that, but
Impeach the orange baboon.
okay. No, but seriously, I'll always have. I'm sorry, I can't feel bad about a guy. Totally bad about a guy who has Wango Tango to his name. I am sorry. I just die whenever that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry too. I'm sorry too.
That's true.
You know, seriously.
Cat scratch fever.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Fever.
Just ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I mean, Ted Nugent, at the very least, belongs in the Hall of Fame for, Strange Dream. I mean, he's got some truly wacky classics. I mean, they're right up there with the best of Sheb Woolley and, Flying Purple People Eater set to an acid beat. That's Ted Nugent.
Knowing his past, I'm sad and chagrined to know there is a photograph of my sister backstage with Ted Nugent at a concert at the Providence Civic Center. She must have been in her late teens, early 20s at the time. And
Well,
I've never asked her.
Well, what the hell? I mean, there's still people. I
Hey,
mean,
Ted Nugent, Cat Scratch Fever was a good song.
Yeah, no,
you
sure
got it
was.
on there anywhere?
I've been accused of jealousy.
No, we don't need to pull up the nude.
No, no.